legend, Fred. We're all legends.
Bohemian Rhapsody tells the story of the band Queen, namely focusing on the life of Freddie Mercury, its lead singer. Freddie Mercury is played by Rami Malek, whom you might remember from the Night at the Museum films as Ra. Crazy journey, isn't it? His likeness works well, especially for the later years in Freddie's life. He also portrays a very vibrant personality and also does really good justice to the quieter moments where some less rosy parts of Freddie's life are explored. And stage presence, one of the biggest aspects of this performance, obviously, is magnificent. This movie is about the first couple decades of Queen, from their formation to 1985's Live Aid concert. Much of the focus goes to the compositional origins of some of Queen's most famous songs. And as someone who really likes movies about the production of things, these were really fun for me to watch. Queen at Live Aid is credited as one of the best live performances of all time. Seeing it recreated in this movie, if that's really close to what it was like, I definitely see why. As with many biopics, dramatic liberties were taken. Post-movie research told me that certain events in the life of the band or of Freddie were shuffled around a little bit to make certain moments have more dramatic impact. Whatever your stance on accuracy, whatever familiarity you have with the history of Queen or Freddie Mercury, I think you'll find that the movie's goals are not hampered, that goal being to portray the experience of Queen. For most of my life, I've enjoyed Queen's music, and I've heard people gushing about how captivating Freddie Mercury is as a performer and as a personality. And after seeing this movie, I think I definitely have a good idea of why people feel that way. Bohemian Rhapsody earns a 9 out of 10 from me.
The moment has come to take our rightful place in the world where we wizards were free. Join me or die.
The Dark Wizard Grindewald gathers support for a world openly ruled by wizards. As the wizarding world grows ever more divided over this issue, magical creature caretaker Newt Scamander is caught in the middle. It's strange that Fantastic Beasts gets to be the title of this series because it mainly just feels organizational, like it's just something they have to put at the beginning in order to keep all of these movies grouped together, when truthfully, the focus of the Beasts was central in the first movie, not so much in this one. Furthermore, we have to deal with an idea that's kind of strange on paper. A magical creatures textbook author is central to one of the most legendary wizarding conflicts of all time. We're 2 movies into that now, and the questionability of why this author has to be central to this story just keeps growing. Now, with all that said, the beasts are still in this movie, they come into play at useful moments, and seeing people interact with them, namely Newt, is probably my favorite part about it. This movie gave attention to so many different characters, story threads, individual problems, and major plot points it was trying to build up to, many of these which were approached in a convoluted manner for the sake of revealing a surprise later in the story. This made the story feel scrambled and unfocused. It made me feel like I had to go to the Wikipedia article and read the plot summary just to get my head straight about what I just saw. And even then, I was left with a pretty distinct impression of, huh? In this story, we get to see Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry again, both in the movie's present day and in flashbacks, and it was really nice to see that again, very nostalgic. On the other hand, kind of made me want to watch a movie about the story going on in the flashback instead. This movie utilizes younger versions of well-known Harry Potter characters, such as Albus Dumbledore, Gellert Grindelwald, and Nicholas Flamel. I think Dumbledore and Grindelwald were used effectively, and the performance given by Jude Law and Johnny Depp as these characters fit them well. With Nicholas Flamel, it was more, hey, you've heard of that guy before, isn't it cool to see him on screen? Which, yeah, that is kind of cool. I don't think this specific character's presence was needed in this story, nor do I think his presence hurt anything about the movie. My likes and dislikes vary about this movie when it comes to character arcs and story points, but what really hampered the viewing experience was the fact that this story tried to tell so much in a single movie. With any luck, this can be the film that serves as an exposition dump, the thing that sets up so many different things for the next 3 movies to cover. Maybe when all 5 of those movies are out, somehow things will click together. For the moment, I give Crimes of Grindelwald 6.5 out of 10.
all come together to make up who we are today. Let's go home!
Kun is adjusting to life with Mirai, his new baby sister. During his worst days, he steps out into his yard, gets transported through time, and learns both about his family history and lessons about his present-day life. The absolute best executed element of this film is the chaotic nature of raising kids, both from Kun's perspective about having to share his parents' affection and his parents' perspective on whether or not they're doing the right thing as parents. With this film, the journey is the destination. The story unfolds by exploring the layers of this complex real-life struggle, and therefore, the lessons learned along the way are more important than where the characters ultimately end up. In Kun's discoveries about his family's past, I started to notice a pattern as far as what the movie was doing to facilitate these discoveries. It was slightly repetitious, but each journey to the past taught Kun a unique lesson, and it gave the audience enough variety in what we would see throughout. Over the past few years, I've seen a number of films by writer-director Mamoru Hosoda. I can describe them mostly as down-to-earth with a few things out of place to keep things interesting, and then when you think you're getting used to it, something really weird happens. Put simply, I really like the shape that the worlds of this guy's films take. A big part of this film is Kun meeting an older version of his baby sister Mirai, and since her name is in the title, I expected her to be in the film more than she was. It was slightly disappointing that she wasn't, but it's not a pox on the film. Mirai is a well-animated, well-told story. There may be a few elements about this world that bend reality, but the emotions driving this story are realistic and effective. My score is 8.5 out of 10. And that concludes the November 2018 edition of Cold Cases. This is Detective Steve. See you in January to talk about December.